The media directs the direction of where and what to ask. It's the first religion by electricity. Can you recall a time when you felt good affinity for someone?
Jeffrey Augustine, with my beautiful wife in our home, Los Angeles, California.
My name is Karen de la Carriere. I am a Top Gun Thomas Kincaid art dealer.
He's the most popular selling painter in history. Born 1958, died in 2012. One of my clients is a retired chief of police. He even dealt in a triple homicide. Blood, spatter, gore, 25 years. Hard-nosed homicide detective. When he goes home at night, he wants to see beauty. He wants to have some Kincaids, a glass of wine with his life. Thank God that he lived through another day without taking a bullet. He wants beauty. He doesn't want confrontation with whatever is out there through a piece of art. So for him, his home is a retreat, a sanctuary, and Kincaid honors the spirit of his home, his marriage, his family. Conversely, Karen and I sell beauty all day, so sometimes at night we watch detective shows about murder, and it's an interesting contrast, I think.
Interesting contrast indeed, Jeffrey Augustine. Welcome, friends. Now, for those of you that don't know what's going on, there's a movie that I put up on YouTube a few days ago, which I'm going to pull up now, called Over the Rainbow, which is causing quite a bit of a stir, predictably so. So what this broadcast is going to be about is something that's been a long time in coming. And it's, as you notice, it's titled Controlled Opposition, right? So what the hell am I talking about? I put this movie up on, let me pull this up here. Guys, we're going to go real slow too here because there's a lot of emotions going on over here. If I get too riled up, I'll start going too fast. And I just want to, we're going to be here for a while. And I just want to ease into this because there's so much information to cover, especially for Scientology watchers or people that don't know what's going on. What this is video one. It's a presentation that I feel I'm kind of ready for. I've been wanting to do this since the beginning of the channel, but as you'll see, this is probably the scariest topic to actually dare broach. Just ask Stephen Mango and some other people, which we'll be discussing. But anyways, so what happened is the other day, this movie right here, again, I have so many tabs up, it's gonna take a minute. So if I go slow or there's some dead air time, please understand. This movie, Over the Rainbow, which I think is the most amazing documentary that's ever been done on Scientology for several reasons that I'll discuss in a minute. Try to follow these timelines here. So I put this up on June 28th, 2023, and we're going to take up some of the comments in a minute. And I told people at the very beginning in this pinned comment, which I'm going to read out, because this is the homework that actually needs to be done for any of this to make sense. And the videos that Stephen did saved me so much work because there's so much to this rabbit hole, which we're only going to introduce in this part one. There's much more to come. So calm down. There's going to be more questions and answers at the end of this. I don't want to sow discord. Please stick around to see the context in which all this is coming from. But this was the homework that I requested before anybody jump in the ring here with an opinion. And the reason I say that is because these videos, when Stephen put them out in 2020, were highly suppressed and caused the same thing to happen, which I'm already experiencing, which we're going to get into. So for context, please first read the following before viewing this documentary featuring both indie, that means still practicing, and ex-Scientologists alike, was filmed over several years and released in 2020. It explores the strange world of the cult and highlights Carriere de la Carriere, who left the church in 2010 and became an anti-Scientology activist. First, she was what's called an indie Scientologist, guys, and then she claimed that she got rid of that in subsequent years and says that she's just against Scientology and Hubbard and the whole lot. And her husband, Jeffrey Augustine, he was just featured on Aaron's. I noticed he got off right away, just in time to come over here. And he will be in the chat, as well as Karen and trolls and stuff. We're well prepared. That's why I brought my co-host, Marcus Sawyer, in, who isn't going to take any shit if there's distractions. But please feel free to engage, because we're going to cover some questions at the end of this. But like I said, guys, stick around, because there's many more videos to come, and we're just laying down the context so everybody doesn't lose their fucking mind over this video being put out. And her husband, Jeffrey Augustine, a supposed ex-Scientologist with an ever-shifting story throughout the years, as central figures. Additionally, this film showcases familiar faces and introduces a courageous individual named Laura Anderson, who recently started her own YouTube channel. So there's the link, guys. Definitely subscribe to this gal. She's an incredible person. The following videos by ex-Scientologist Stephen Mango are highly recommended for obtaining more information about Carriere and Jeffrey, in addition to gaining a better understanding of the more well-known figureheads in the X community. These videos include supporting evidence and receipts. So before you come, we encourage people after this video, because there's going to be a lot of questions, and during, ask away, challenge the evidence that's presented in these videos. Homework step number 1, to have any idea what the hell's going on and what we're talking about, you have to watch Over the Rainbow first, or you can watch it after Stephen's videos, whichever you prefer. But the required reading to understand anything going forward, and your comments aren't going to be taken seriously. I'm just telling you, if you don't know what's going on, and if you can't spend 3.5 hours to get up to date, you can comment away. You won't be blocked unless you're obviously a troll or one of Jeffrey's sock puppet accounts. But we encourage you to watch these first before even thinking that you have any idea what might be going on. This video has been altered from the original to include only the Scientology content and to fall under the guidelines of fair use. I'm not going to go into my channel being shut down before. I don't want to provide any ammunition, but ever since I started this channel in June 2020, it's been constantly under attack. It got shut down after having 55,000 subscribers in January 2023, and I've been rebuilding it back up, and you can damn well believe that there's going to be an attempt to do it again. So I know what I'm doing on this end. They shouldn't be able to do that, and I have it covered. All that can happen with this video is a strike can be issued and the video taken down, which I assure you that was definitely what Karen and Jeffrey would be trying to do. And if it goes down, it will always be available on my BitChute channel. No matter what censorship YouTube does, no matter what happens, all the videos that YouTube won't allow and this will be up there permanently. And it's free. There's a link in the description box. Okay, so I'm going to show you a sequence of events to bring you up to speed on what's happening. And then I'm going to show you a clip with me and Stephen Mango that we did about a month and a half ago to set the tone of where we're coming from. This is not to divide the community, especially when it's so strong. There's so many things happening. There's so many wins. We just had the Danny Masterson victory. So it's complex. Use discernment. We prevent evidence. Come back at us with refuting the facts. No ad hominem attacks on a person's character. It's the facts that we're trying to get answered that keep being dodged around. Since I'm not monetized, I've been through this before, and I have no investment other than telling the truth. I'm going to speak it to the best of my ability. And like I said, back it up with facts. Anybody that's spent any time on the channel or doesn't know who I am and is new, go watch some of the videos and get a feel for me. My character, is this guy full of shit or whatever? Again, please do a little bit of homework, because this is a subject that's been a long time in coming, and it requires some finesse, and it's not about attacking anybody. Like I said, I'll get into the very specifics of what the hell we're talking about, but there's so much to cover. Lay back. I'm going to smoke a fucking cigarette. I'm going to try not to talk fast and chill out. And I'm going to try not to get emotional. Okay, so to start off here, I just want to show you a sequence of events, because this is, if not anything, it's super predictable what's already happening. So here's the video, Over the Rainbow. I posted it on June 28th, 2023, and told people to please go do their homework. Here Karen de la Carriere appears on Janice Gilham Grady's channel with the electric clickbait title of Karen de la Carriere spills secrets about Pat Broker. Now, this came out on July 1st, 3 days after Over the Rainbow went up. Remember this because we're going to be referring back to 2 points in this video. Now, stand by while I pull up the next one. Today, right? This is why I had to change the stream, by the way, guys, because I'm not new on the block. I've been down this many times before, so I know what to expect. I'm not accusing Janice of anything, but let's just say I had this scheduled for noon several days ago, and Janice jumped on top of it with the director guy that she had on at noon. So I put this ahead 2 hours, and as you can see, Jeffrey just got off. Note the titles here. We have, well, the very first video that was put out is this one. Let me go to this page. Stand by, please. Okay, so he did an edited, okay, I got to back up a little bit. So this is the video that he put out called Scientology Sabotages Documentary about abusive kids, and then the word allegedly was added there. That's a good idea because that's quite a claim with no evidence. So here's the sequence of events. Let me pull myself up here. That video went up on January 28th. I already know Karen's going to lose her mind because whenever that pops up, and it's not that you can't find it, and I included the link, by the way, to the full video. I only edited it for fair use and because it's boring as fuck if you add in all the other irrelevant, in my opinion, stuff about that movie. And there's a whole nother video to do about that. I'm not going to take up all the stuff that was going on the channel. I'm very aware of it, guys. You don't need to tell me what's going on. So that Aaron called me. Remember, that went up on June 28th. Aaron called me. He's never called me before, but he called me twice on July 3rd, and he said, this is a couple days after Janice went on, and I wanted to point out that Karen hasn't made the rounds in at least about a month, but what she does, as you'll see evidence for, and again, that's why you have to watch the Steve Mango video. You have to see the evidence because it's too much to already talk about. That's your homework. But I already know that the way she's going to handle this video coming out, being put out by me, and I'm going to show you some text exchange between me and Karen and Jeffrey and how the whole cult works that she ropes people into. So stick around. We're just getting started. So Aaron calls me on July 3rd. That would be Monday. I don't answer because I'm sleeping, man. And I was like, oh, this guy wants to talk about blocking the comments and all the heat that he's getting from the Over the Rainbow because he blocked people's comments from reporting on that. And when he had Jeffrey on, he tried to, I guess he had to, I wasn't there, but I've gotten comments and emails saying he's censoring people that are calling, challenging Jeffrey on stuff while he had him live. And Aaron calls him his good friend. By the way, Aaron might not know what's going on. He might be savvy enough to, he has a big enough channel. I don't know if he's totally co-opted. I think that there's hope. He might just be having his mind split by what the fuck he just saw. So when he texted me, he said, yo, do you mind if I use the documentary footage on my channel? I'm still in the middle of watching it. I've never seen the whole thing before. The footage of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's actually called Over the Rainbow. So, like I said, I was going to call him in the morning thinking he's going to, okay, great. We can have a conversation about this, about what's going on. Why are you censoring people? Don't you know what's going on? So rather than that, that's what he asked. So I don't care. I could already guess how it's not going to take up, Karen and Jeffrey, and it's going to paint him in a good light and woe is me and all that. I already, first of all, he can use whatever he wants. He doesn't have to ask me. So I personally believe, this is just my opinion, that once this video went out, Karen does PR damage control. So she's in everybody's ear, including Laura, to tell them how to handle this movie, that this creep, Doug Kramer, don't trust him. He's a conspiracy nutter. He's bad. So Karen undoubtedly went on a whole rampage to get herself on shows to try to talk over this one, which they, like I said, conveniently got off at the right time because I know Jeffrey and Karen are in the audience. And before I finish with this thing with Aaron, I want to say, Karen and Jeffrey, All I'm asking, and all that Steve's asking, and many other people who you've harmed, is to tell the truth and don't lie. And you're welcome, and I'll treat you in a respectful way, to come on, dispute those Steve Mango videos and all the evidence that was presented, as well as the evidence I'm going to present with my interactions with you, and set it straight. Okay? That's the one thing that you won't do. You'll go on a whole campaign to distract and this, that, and the other thing, and you're acting exactly like if anything, these guys are predictable. Like I said, stick with me. I'll give you a whole backstory on this. So while so Aaron asked me, right? I think Karen was in his ear and trying to do PR damage control on, like I said, this crazy nutter, this evil fucking ex-Scientologist. He's probably OSA, daring to put out Over the Rainbow because of the headache that I know it's going to cause her. Laura is not a part of this. I'll say something about Over the Rainbow first. I love that gal. I mean, she broke my fucking heart. And that conversation that her dad is talking to her, that's my dad. That's what I fucking went through for 10 years trying to talk to this motherfucker. So like I said, there's a lot of emotions here. This has nothing to do with Laura or everything. And I'll explain in a minute why it's the best Scientology documentary ever. And you'll never see one like it again. And you'll never see one like it before. And by the way, it's interesting that it was labeled on Aaron's channel when Jeffrey just got off as the worst Scientology documentary. Yeah, from his point of view, it would be. I also want you to notice that talking of this movie and the amount it stirred came only after a few days of putting up that video. So make no mistake about it. They don't like the fact that this is out and they have to answer questions. If they would have just answered the questions and the allegations from Steven, who's the only one with a big YouTube channel that actually had the balls to call these people out and suffered the results. If there was more people, and people have reached out to me and they're coming forward, so I feel safe enough to talk about this. But this has even been more of a problem and more terrifying for me personally than talking out about Scientology. And Steven and others have made the same point, and they've confided to me in confidence, but this is something you definitely don't want to do because of the heat that's going to come and is already starting by daring to go here. So anyways, I think I told you about the text with Aaron. He doesn't need my permission, and I'm sure he's smart enough, especially after having that copyright owner guy on from the Satanic Church or whatever, that he doesn't have to ask my permission. He knows he can use that. He uses other people's videos all the time. So I feel like Karen told him, make sure you get his permission, whatever, right? So he never saw the footage before. And I said, yeah, hi, Aaron, please feel free to use whatever you like. And then he liked it. And then off he goes on addressing everything except for what the obvious would be, how Carriere and Jeffrey are painted. Okay, so with that out of the way, I want to tell you like I said, I had Stephen Mango on, and this will give a really brief, concise 5-minute bullet point of what this is all about and what our point of contention is, and others that are afraid to talk out, and that it has nothing to do with trying to sow discord in the X community. I'm after the truth. I've been through all levels of this fucking thing. I got out in 2008, and the reason I didn't speak out until 2020 and I didn't become a superstar, I mean, I was an actor. I have connections. I could have skipped the healing of the trauma and gone right back into real life. But I've talked extensively on my channel, and it's coming up in depth in season 3 when we get to it. It would have already been done, but like I said, my channel got shut down. I'm being hit from every fucking angle. So just to get the story out in the background of what I've been through is a thing unto itself. But anyways, here's a concise explanation of what this is all about, and then we'll pick it up from here. And this is me and Stephen Mango talking about a month and a half ago. Want to say one other thing. Every reference, everything that I throw up here, a few hours after this publishes, it's going to be in the description box, and I very much encourage you to do your own homework, follow the links, and then come back and leave a comment and say whatever you like. Please retort the information. Show us where we're wrong. We don't claim that we're right. We're just waiting for people to take accountability. So here we go.
I just didn't want people to feel also that I just abandon the channel just because I'm lazy or don't want to make a video or do something. That's just how often could I be, posting. But then also, the ex-Scientology community near the end is everyone who got really toxic with.
I believe I have them on 1.25 because we have a lot to get through, but I think you guys can hear that okay.
you know, the scam that, you know, Karen pulled on me for $7,500 of
Yeah.
auditing.
Do you want to talk about that? Or for people that aren't familiar, because Karen's come up quite a bit, and I have a video on her that kind of shows her true character in a movie called Over the Rainbow, which is only posted on my BitChute channel. Yeah, that's really who Karen is, because I had interactions with her too. Most of the people are really they're decent. They're not toxic like that. But we were talking about narcissists before, and I'd put her in that category for sure. And just very manipulative and stuff behind the scenes. I don't want to harp on her, because I don't want to sow discord in the community, just because there's too much bullshit going on, and OSA plays into that anyways. But it is important to know that, you know, people who aren't what they seem to be. This is the part that really pissed me off, and I want to show people what we're talking about here real quick, because he did 3 videos on this. God, this is bringing back some fucking shit, man. Just because this person, man, you know, it's one thing, Stephen, to get out of the cult and, you know, really need help. I trusted the X community completely, and I had no idea that there was people still charging people and trying to rope them into their own little cult and still auditing people. If you guys haven't checked this out, 3 years ago, he did an expose on Carriere de la Carriere. And if you don't know who she is, she's a ex-Class 12 auditor, ex-Scientologist, and she kind of she at least used to, I don't know what kind of power she has anymore, but she pays off people behind the scenes and gets them to do her bidding, and is very manipulative. And he did 3 videos. They're long, but I highly recommend checking these out, just to know who you're dealing with.
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's not even it's not even just Karen. It's just like that whole kind of ex-Scientology community to me. And others could have their own experience. They may feel like certain people are, you know, maybe they were in Scientology together, which I wasn't in Scientology with somebody like Karen or Aaron Smith-Levin or any of them, right? But it was basically kind of not so much just to be like, you know, oh, crying about, you know, what went down with Karen and I. It was also just other people in the ex-Scientology community that they act like they're in their own sort of cult. Like, for example, when I made my video, Mike Rinder unfriended me. Basically, all the other people that were connected to Karen,
I bet they did.
They all instantly disconnect from me.
Rather than answer the allegations, why didn't they just answer the allegations? You had the receipts. All I called Karen out for, well before you did those videos, I just wanted to know, are you still auditing people behind the scenes and lying about it? And that's when she called me OSA, had sick Jeffrey on me and shit. And then she creepily called me on the Facebook Messenger. It feels good to finally say this, by the way, because she's kind of, she's had me a little bit intimidated. Like, you know, I thought that took a lot of balls to speak out on her. I'm torn between, you know, I don't want to sow any more discord, but God damn it, that person is, you know, not what she seems. And it's good to finally get that off my chest. I feel like I got off the over it. Because they, you know, we need a place to land, guys, when we come out of Scientology. And Steven's just one person that was taken advantage of by Karen, who pretended not to be a Scientologist, still auditing, and got a lot of money out of him to bring her back into her little indie Scientology group, which is fine, but be upfront about it. And don't call me OSA because I asked you a question if that's true.
And anyone who calls out somebody like, you know, Karen or whomever, then it's just your OSA. Because if you're a critic attacking another critic, and it's this idea of infighting, and people are like, oh, you're now attacking each other, and this is what Scientology wants. It's like, why would I want to, like, you know, put it to like, oh, let me bury it because it's somehow affecting the greater good of exposing Scientology, when, you know, she was auditing me at the very same time that she would be like, okay, go in the auditing room. And again, she was not framing it as much of Scientology auditing, but it's like, hey, this helps me locate areas of like distress that, you know, you're experiencing. So I'm going to use some Scientology tools, just what I've learned as an auditor. I'm class 12. Obviously, I've been, you know, doing this for a hot minute. And, you know, this is not like rigid Scientology. And again, this is all I knew. I wasn't going to a regular therapist. It was right when I was leaving Scientology in the beginning. And I really trusted her as like a motherly type of figure. We were having Thanksgiving dinner together, all these sort of things. So I had a very close sort of, you know, friendship, or I don't even know how you would really call it. But during this time, while I was in the auditing room waiting for her, she would go and post on ESMB, which was the ex-Scientology message board, and other things saying Hubbard's a con man, David Miscavige, you know, beats his staff. This whole thing is a whole, you know, way to scam people, and, you know, auditing doesn't work, whatever. And then like I would see that after the fact, but it's like she was literally doing that at the same time. And, you know, 5 minutes later, she's going into session. On the Thanksgiving dinner table, there's a pre-clear folder for Jeffrey Augustine, her partner, who's also very critical against Scientology.
And a private investigator.
And he's a private investigator.
And by the way, now that you bring that up,
it's just crazy.
You know, we'll have to do a whole separate video if you actually want to deep dive on Carriere and Jeffrey, but that's not what this, because if you want to go into this right here, we can pull up some receipts and stuff. Because and also Jeffrey's a member of a secret society, I believe, called the Knights Templar, which is kind of sus. But that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother sort of.
And if that is, it's obviously not really Well, here we are with that whole nother story. And like I said, that's why we're definitely going to be going slowly and video by video. So with that out of the way, I want to show you a video. Remember those intelligence connections? Because we will hit upon that as we start to go down this rabbit hole, but we're just getting started. So now you understand, just to summarize, I've said this a million times on my channel. I haven't been secret about it, but to tackle it in this way invites a lot of question marks, personal attacks in. And this, like I said, is a no-go area because it's been a secret for a while. Karen's, I would suggest, is a malignant narcissist. And to people that have been on my channel, listen to the interviews with narcissistic psychopath HG Tudor, or wherever else you want to get your source on what that means to you. It's a word that means that person won't change, basically. They're manipulative. And to just call them like, what was that? A little bit creepy is to miss the point of this scale of manipulation that's been going on since Karen came out in 2010 and her right-hand man, Jeffrey Augustine. Yeah, thanks, man. Like I said, I'm going to take my time. I got a bunch of tabs open. I have 5 videos already, at least 2 hours long to say on this. So just realize that in this first video, we're just going to provide enough for you guys to understand what's going on, follow the links, watch the Steve Mango videos, and then please comment afterwards as to whatever thoughts you have. Okay, so let me pull up the next part. So like I said, I started my channel in June 2020. I never had a master plan at all. I was stuck in my house. I know the pandemic was a different experience for different people, depending on where they were at. But I was locked in my house and I had nothing to do. And all of a sudden I was sitting on my couch one day and I said, I hate YouTube. I'm not a social media guy. But I feel compelled to actually fucking make a video on Scientology. I've been sitting on this for 12 years. It took me a decade to fully understand what happened. I went through a massive breakdown. My entire life basically had to break down before a new one could build because I was basically born into this. You guys know the story that are already watching. And if you don't, please familiarize yourself with my story on the Raised in a Secret Society series. Because what are my credentials? You know, it's important to kind of look at who's speaking. So anyways, on the very second video, what we're talking about now was so much on my mind that rather than jump right into the story, this is what I was talking about, the very thing that's happening right now. And just so nobody's in the dark, like I said, my opinion, and I don't need to be a psychologist. I don't need to, she's not going to, you know, subject herself to that, to, you know, is she a narcissist? Is she not? I've had enough experience to peg her as that to protect myself. And that's all I need to know. In other words, this is a dangerous person. And unlike a lot of the X community, they simply either don't know about it. She has a lot of them under their control and pays them off. Again, see Steve Mango's videos, and we'll be going into some of that here and especially in future videos to back that up. And the scale of deception is just basically unknown to people. So I'm trying to not come on like Zero Dark Tony and bash everybody. Although, you know, more power to him because finally someone else is actually speaking about this shit too. We're going to be talking about John Atack, Chris Shelton, Tony Ortega, Aaron Smith-Levin. No one's safe from this conversation. And it's not to harp on anybody because I don't think most of them know. It's simply to provide more information and then you guys make of it what you will. So this is the second video to show you how much this is on my mind and that I couldn't quite speak out about it, but let's just say hinting about it, because as soon as you start doing this, what happens is what you saw today. Jeffrey and Karen contact their people, get on shows and try to distract and make it about them rather than what the obvious thing would be with Over the Rainbow. The funny thing is that it's obvious that they're fresh out of the cult that was shot over many years, and they were clearly indie Scientologists. And Karen, like I said earlier, claimed that several years later, she stopped auditing, she's against Hubbard, etc. That's not true at all. All the way up until 2020, she was secretly auditing people while pretending to be all against Hubbard and the tech. And that's actually a minor point. Who cares if she's auditing or not? That's not the freaking point like you saw in that video. It's a scale of deception and manipulation from a malignant narcissist. So this is the second video that I ever did, and I'll just play you a quick clip from it.
It's just such a time waste. And if you knew what it was before you were going in, this entire situation for my life and other people that went through it would never happen. And there's a serious problem in this world, by the way, that Scientology is not the only one, obviously. That's just what I'm talking about. That's what I know about. But if you're an ex-JW, if you're an ex-Mormon, if there's also other elements of society that use this same kind of structure to trap people. So I'm going to be talking about a definition of what it actually is. And there's going to be a lot of different opinions, whether you're a Scientologist. There's a lot of Scientologists that are out of the cult, but still believe in the technology of L. Ron Hubbard. But they think David Miscavige is the fucking asshole and he fucked Scientology up. There's so many different levels when you come out of this that there's going to be a lot of different opinions as to what people say that it is. My opinion is you have to have a lot of distance from it and do a shitload of deprogramming before you can even approach that question, the answer to that question. Because what Scientology is, it's a multidimensional, multifaceted con. It's a scam from beginning to end, all of it. But if you're a still half believing Scientologist, which there's lots of, and we're going to talk about the ex-Scientology community in a separate video altogether, because that's a whole nother ball of wax to open up. There's many, many levels. Getting out of Scientology is just the first step. There's many levels to make sure that you don't rejoin a cult. You don't fucking get trapped into one of these other kind of groups, you know, while you're trying to heal yourself. It's fucking loaded with obstacles just trying to get the fuck out, let alone trying to get out with people that you think are helping you that are also fucked up still and trying to figure it all out themselves. So we're going to talk about it.
Okay, so that's it on that. Now, to add more context, I'm going to show you this video from Steven, and we're going to continue from there.
And for today's video, it is part 2 to the video I made the other day called Exposing Independent Scientology and My Crazy $7,500 Auditing Session. If you haven't already seen that video, I highly suggest that you pause this video and go watch that one first. Now that video is around 45 minutes to 49 minutes long, somewhere in that time range. I know it's a long video, but I highly suggest starting there because it tells you all of the backstory, everything that I went through over my 7-year.
Just to reiterate, please don't come at me with any comments if you don't watch these videos. These are the accusations being made. This is what Jeffrey and Karen, I suggest, were dodging with all the streams that you saw about Over the Rainbow and accusing Scientology of being behind it, etc. We'll get into that. But I want to make the point that it's the allegations that are made in these videos that are never answered, and they can't be answered because that would cause her entire facade and the absolute scale of control she's had over in the X community. Most people don't run out and attack them. The only person that I have my attention on and all the people I've met in the X community is Karen de la Carriere. And I would put her husband in as a second. But everyone else I've met, Aaron, you know, Chris, everybody has their own style of who they like. I would be considered the conspiracy nutter. You know, I like to go deeper down the rabbit hole. I can already hear how Karen, you know, would be back channeling and talking to people about me. And I know she has, by the way, but I don't want to throw any names out. Let's just say she's been very active in discrediting me, and the easiest one to do, even though there's a lot of everything's researched. I don't claim to get it all correct, but I definitely went deeper down the rabbit hole just to find out what the truth was. Because when my eyes opened up about Scientology, I could start to see the world, other cults like the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons, etc. I could start to see patterns and stuff. That's part of why the decompression took like 12 years before I started speaking out rather than trying to be like a YouTube star or whatever, making a bunch of money. So here we go.
History with the independent auditor who I was good friends with, who later out turned to be a very toxic, manipulative individual who started running their own cult. Now, I didn't actually say the name of the person who I'm talking about in the last video. Well, it's for multiple reasons why I didn't do that initially. And I guess some of those reasons stemmed more from the fear of speaking out about this person. The second reason was honestly just because I didn't want it to be like a video where I was like, you're exposed, and I have all the receipts and all the screenshots, and it wasn't intending to be anything like that. It was more so just to share my experience about being involved in the independent Scientology movement and how I got sucked into the world of an individual who totally took advantage and manipulated me over the course of our friendship. Now, this person who I'm speaking about is Carriere de la Carriere. Don't know who Karen is. We're going to be getting into that. We're going to be talking with more details and more information about who this person is, how they took advantage of me. We're going to be talking about the Outer Banks cult that they run and how they operate, how they take people into that world, how I got sucked in, and how ever since I made that video, how I am now being disconnected from by others in the ex-Scientology world, how this person's slandering me, calling me an OSA spy, the Office of Special Affairs, claiming that I am now in or working for the Church of Scientology. I'm being called a fraud. I'm being called a sensationalist. They're digging up other dirt and information on me. And there's a lot more other people who have come forward to share their story with me. And I'm going to be telling you guys and showing you some other evidence and information on this person. And there's obviously a lot of different claims and other things that are being levied against me. And I want to take this time in this video as well to address all of those. There's also going to be a part 3 video. So I have a lot of feelings, a lot of information, other things to share and to clear up. And there's just so much to this story, guys. There's just a lot of information, other things I'm going to be presenting to you guys. Like I said, didn't even intend to make this like it was an expose. The last video, like I said, was more so to share a story and get it off my chest and to move on. And when others found out who this individual is, because I didn't blur out their photo on some of the different screenshots and stuff, I also want to give a couple little hints. I realized I really can't let this person get away with what they did to me and what they're doing to others, because what happens is when you leave Scientology, you end up in this ex-Scientology movement, more or less of what it is, but it's more dangerous than that. And there's a lot of parallels to being Scientology. It's run and there's censorship and there's so much to how the Outer Banks and the ex-Scientologists are operating basically like a cult.
Okay, so like I said, you have to do the homework to watch this first, all the videos. I'm not going to repeat that. If you haven't, click off the video, go watch all that, and then come back, and this will make a lot more sense. But I didn't want to throw this completely out of context. So you hear what he's saying. He's talking about the Outer Banks. Keep these things in mind.
So you fall into another cult after leaving Scientology. And I think that it's really important for others to know so they can steer clear of people like Karen and her husband, Jeffrey Augustine.
That's what it's all about. And as my lovely co-host, Marcus Sawyer, reminded me of, so I don't get too heated today talking about this because he knows how emotional this is because he's been through it too, is harm reduction. The whole point of this is when people get out of the cult, especially with all the new content creators that are coming out. And my personal opinion is Aaron did a great thing, and I do give him a majority of the credit because let's be honest, by blowing up his channel and putting out a lot of good information, he has caused many, many other people to feel safe in coming out. Because that's happening, because the Danny Masterson, because he was thrown in jail and actually convicted, which is a huge win, you can imagine that this would stir up Scientology, the growth of the community, which is really strong. This is not about microscopically focusing on this thing and therefore everybody's information becomes irrelevant. I will still use Karen's information, Tony Ortega's. You can have your opinions about these people, and we're warning of the dangers of this particular person. But nonetheless, it doesn't discount all the work. It doesn't discount the trauma they've been through. You know, Karen went through fucking hell and back in Scientology. Her story is horrible. She lost her freaking son. No one's not sympathetic to that, which makes it even more disgusting of the behavior. Do you understand this, guys? Like I said, he covers it really well, and he's the only one on a public platform so far that's had the balls to talk about this because he was completely excluded, which is exactly what they're going to do with me and what's already happening. They won't come after me directly because they have nothing on me. I actually had a life outside of Scientology too, and I don't have any dirt. And I also do welcome the content because, I wish they would I wish they'd come talk to me civilly and answer the allegations. But what they'll do is exactly what you've seen happening the last few days. Karen will call up her cohort. She's really close with Janice Gilham Grady, get on there to take attention away from the Over the Rainbow film. And then Aaron had Laura on twice, and then Jeffrey right before this. So I just want you to figure it out yourself. No one's jamming anything down your throat. We're just trying to provide evidence. And what's the point of this? Because of all these new content creators, because of all the vulnerable people that don't know how the ex-Scientology cult works and who's in control, so many people, myself included, and I'm going to show you shortly, get roped in and love bombed by a narcissist named Carriere de la Carriere and pulled in through the Outer Banks, what Stephen was just talking about. And it almost led him to suicide. So what I'm trying to do, and others are, and by the way, guys, you know who you are, who you've reached out. And I've had many people reach out to me over the years about this subject, but they're afraid to come on. But the tide's changing. New content creators that are ex-Scientologists need to be aware of this so they don't get fucked up for 10 years and go, holy shit, you know, I got roped in by her, and figure this out the hard way. It's what Marcus called harm reduction. This is a warning for vulnerable people that come out. And there's nothing more evil than lying that you're auditing people, running an entire back channel scam while pretending to be anti-Hubbard, anti-Scientology, to use her son's death to gain sympathy and detract from lies, and fuck them up and rope them into her tech. So that's the warning here. Let's continue. Stand by.
I've actually filmed this video 2 other times. One time the footage was really blurry and I couldn't use it. The first time I was just all up in my emotions about it. So I really wanted to take a couple days as well, just to see if there would be fair game levied against me, which there has been. And I wanted to see if Karen would write to me, or the aftermath is what we're also going to be talking about, is what happened after and since posting my last video. So again, I kind of want to say one thing first, which talks about Karen as an auditor. A lot of people are wondering if this was a long time ago, or why it took me so long to speak out, and is she still auditing? There's a lot of different people saying different things, and the ex-Scientology community has basically shunned me out. And
if you're a couch potato, you do not.
Sorry, we
want
got to
see
deal with the
this,
commercials. This is
because
another
we
reason
are
I don't
giving away
monetize.
These incredible
I pretty much feel speaking out about Karen and in my last video was more difficult than to actually speak out about Scientology. And it was more difficult in order to film my video and to come forward, because I knew what I was bound to lose by speaking out about this individual because of how they run and control all of the ex-Scientology narrative. We're going to be talking about how she used me to release information about Marty Rathbun, and there's just a lot of different things, guys. So just stay tuned. I know that there's different questions and things. I'm going to get to them. And
okay, I just wanted to highlight a point. I want, for those that are joining us that are new or just tuning in, this subject is so enormous and ties into almost everybody that all we're doing in this broadcast is laying down the foundation, providing links for you to follow on homework, and then after that to take in the comments, because part 2 is going to be probably a Q&A. I said I have at least 5 videos to do on this, and we're just getting started. So please just keep that in mind. And I know what he's speaking is true because I went through the same thing he's describing in these videos. Other people, like I said, I think they're getting the nerve to come forward. So stay tuned.
And we just have to kind of just start somewhere. So with regard to why it took me so long to speak out about this. Now, I was receiving auditing from Karen anywhere from the years 2014, I think I began, or maybe late 2013. And I think one of my last sessions was after I got out of hairdressing school and I was working in the beauty salons and stuff. So that could have been as late as maybe 2016 or 2017, even perhaps, was one of my last sessions from Karen. So this wasn't that long ago. And there's others who've since come forward online to share their experiences with Karen. Now, there's an independent Scientology movement, and there's different Facebook groups and different things. And someone actually sent me a knowledge report. As you guys know, knowledge reports are when you write up another individual inside Scientology, but this is happening in the independent movement when you're trying to write a report on someone. And they actually talked about how Karen was auditing someone allegedly on the L's rundown as of September 2019. So
pay attention to these dates. This is really important for laying down the foundations. That's why at the very beginning, I showed you the date that I put up over the rainbow, Karen going on to her good friend, Janice Gilham Grady, and then Aaron contacting me. And on replay, guys, if you're just joining us, obviously start from the beginning because we're laying down a case here.
Show you a little excerpt from that right in here. As you can see here in the knowledge report, it says, okay, this is Karen de la Carriere, still out there auditing the L's rundown. Last known to me to be auditing as of September 2019. Now,
Okay, and if you watch the full series from Mango, there's evidence all the way up to 2020. And also I've been contacted saying that she's still promoting it to this day, that that she audits. I don't know why she would still have that up, but I need to see a link to that if anybody has it. But it doesn't matter, and it's not even about her being an indie Scientologist. It's about the lies and manipulation. Trey Lotz is an indie Scientologist. Scott Gordon is. I mean, no offense, Scott, but you're kind of out of your mind. I think a lot of these indies, you know where I stand. I have a video up called The 10 Steps Out of Scientology, where if you want to get this mind virus totally out of your mind, you got to scrap all of Scientology. And Arnie brilliantly laid out these steps, because I think you're always subject to Hubbard's control until that long, deep, hard process actually happens. That's a personal opinion. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Keep in mind the dates. It's not about whether you're an indie Scientologist or not. That's the least worries. That has nothing to do with the Rainbow movie and why I put it up, etc. Keep that in mind, please.
I believe that since I went in Karen's mind type 3, which is considered going like mentally insane because of my suicide attempts and from my depression, the other things I talked about in my first video. As you can see here, a potential trouble source type 3, also known as PTS type 3, is defined as a psychotic break. A person suffering a psychotic breakdown due to connection with an anti-Scientologist or psychiatrist, supposedly. Often this label is applied to people who flip under the incredible strain of Scientology's paranoid BS. Talk about how dangerous it is too for her to tell me to refuse medical services and stuff. It was almost like a Lisa McPherson situation. Thank God I'm alive. I just think that for Karen to be auditing people, and people wonder like, well, could she still be doing it? Or like, she's this like big critic, and like, how, if she's fighting against Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard, how could she still be auditing people? Well, in my estimation, I believe someone like Karen picks and chooses her marks. So for example, I'm just throwing any name out there about critics. This isn't anyone in particular.
Try to pay attention, guys, here, because he's explaining the methodology.
So let's just say Tori Christman. We know Tori Christman, who's on YouTube, just as Karen is, and Karen's getting support from 20,000 people of her subscribers to go and run auditing sessions on me when I'm suicidal, telling me not to get mental health therapy, all at the while calling L. Ron Hubbard a con man and taking $7,500 from me. I mean, there's like so much more to the story, which is what you guys are here for in part 2. But say Tori Christman is like, L. Ron Hubbard's a con man. I don't believe in Scientology, the tech, there's nothing good about it, and I'm free on the outside world. Someone like Tori has said that in a number of her videos. So do you think Karen is actually going to go and try to audit someone like Tori? Probably not. And if someone like Tori's like, no, screw off, Karen, I'm not interested in auditing, Karen may actually get the hint. But if there's other individuals who are new, just leaving Scientology, remember, I was still in the mindset when I left. So when you have someone who's new and who still maybe believes in it, then Karen knows that she can use like her position of being like this class 12 auditor in order to take advantage of these like unsuspecting marks of hers. So if you also look, here's actually an ad that I found of Karen that's running right now in 2020 as of May 6th. Karen's ad claims that
he meant to say 2020, and you can verify it here. So keep this in mind, guys. Up until 2020, that was the year that Over the Rainbow was released. And for many years before that, not only did she avidly deny that she was still practicing Scientology, anybody that challenged her and or questioned her was immediately out of her favor. No more YouTube views for you. No more being promoted to all the contacts that I have. Because again, if you consult Steve Video, she is the one that all the press goes to. Everybody thinks she's a hero. And she makes damn sure she's got as much control, like a typical malignant narcissist would, over everybody.
Is an LRH trained Class 12 CS, crew member among the Apollo, Flag Service Org FSO Class 12 Auditor in CS, and she's an ELS Auditor CS, one of only 7 Class 12 CSs ever made. She's a NOTS Auditor and CS, Advanced Solo NOTS Auditor, and she's a specialist in fixing bog cases and reviews, and she's offering the entire bridge in the independent Scientology movement. So as you can see, Karen has this little ad which says that she does the whole bridge, including the ELS, fixing bog cases and all of that. Now, I think, as I was trying to get at with Karen labeling me type 3, she's not going to continue auditing me from that point. So after I ran out of money to pay her, and after she saw me being suicidal and having like serious mental things, I wasn't continuously being regged for more auditing from that point forward. But as we can see, there's other people who are coming out saying that they've been audited within the last like few months. And if she wasn't still an auditor, why would she be running ads on sites like Scientologypedia, Free and Able, and other Scientology newsletters? A independent Scientologist by the name of Michael Moore actually runs one of these newsletters. And when others were asking him, hey, is Karen still auditing? This was his response. Michael Moore says, Marcus, I do these newsletters well in advance, and Karen is still a Class 12 auditor and audits. Do you know of any reason why she should not be listed? If so, please let me know by PM. Thanks. So as you guys can see, Karen is still auditing through him in order to advertise rather through Michael Moore. So again, there's a lot of different evidence that points in the direction that Karen is still auditing people in 2020.
Okay, that's basically the point I wanted to make. Again, you have to watch these videos. So what's the next point? Okay, now on that interview that I showed you with Stephen that we did about a month and a half ago, one of the comments came up about Jeffrey's intelligence connections, etc. So let's do there's much more to say about that. But like I said earlier, we have a lot to talk about, and I want to introduce people to this slowly, step by step, as if they know nothing about what's going on. Because this is most important, not only to the exes that have been harmed and that need to be warned about how she manipulates people. And we're going to go through the steps that happens, which includes the Outer Banks Facebook group. but particularly the new SPT TV watchers that get bonded to their favorite personalities and live parasocially through these people and get safe pointed, as they call it in Scientology, so no harm can be said against them. How dare you, call out the top critic? That's all part of what we're talking about. And before we jam on here, let me just take up a couple of quick things. So, quote, interesting how this crashed down on the hours after posting. Why? What is so bad that it can't be spoken of? This is his experience. His feelings are as valid as anyone's. It's not only that they're not valid, Shayna, it's the fact that let's just say the whole X community turned against them, which is exactly what's going to happen to me. You're already seeing it with the videos that have come out trying to dead agent that movie and the obvious question, hey, what's up with Carriere and Jeffrey? So there's a long story to that, but like I said, there's so many videos to do on this, and it sucks because I don't want to be doing this. I have 2 videos that I have to finish editing to finish the series, and I want to get back to that. And then also somebody brought this up. We have so much interesting information to get into, but this is, without going into too much detail, let's just say this has to be addressed. Timing is everything. And there's enough people, I think, willing to come forward to finally confront this. And with this person out of the picture and people understanding, the community will fucking thrive. Okay. So yeah, I do have a video on William S. Burroughs and Aldous Huxley, their involvement in Scientology. Huxley, the Huxley part of that is very interesting and ties into the stuff that Zero Dark Tony's talking about and stuff. Anyway, so I just wanted to take that up real quick. And let me just show you the background of Jeffrey, since, like I said, we're going to jump off of that comment that was thrown up in the interview I did with Steven before I said, we're going to have to take that up another time. Most of this is covered in Steven's videos, and I'm going to take it a lot further as we build the case and go forward. But, this is what something OSA would do, is be a private investigator and dig up dirt on people or whatever. These are not proof of anything. These are simply things to note. Use your own discernment. And as more evidence is presented, a picture starts to form. So Jeffrey Augustine's private investigator license, it's number 188942. This is posted on May 7th, 2021. And he makes it common knowledge that he's a private investigator. Nothing sus there, right? As if Jeffrey Augustine didn't creep you out enough. I mean, we can just leave the personal attacks out of it. Now it's been disclosed that he is also a licensed private investigator in the state of California and holds a qualified manager status. Again, links to all this will be in the description, and you can see his license here. Now, this is really interesting, and this is why discernment's so important. I'm going to read you something from the hate site of Scientology, which is quite accurate, although, of course, Scientology has their own slant as to who is Jeffrey Augustine. And I'll obviously show you what's their propaganda and what actually stands up as facts. And before that, I missed this, which you guys definitely need to see to set the context for this whole fucking thing. My bad. So this video is titled Controlled Opposition. And like I said, as we build the case and show more evidence, you'll start to see a picture. Well, what's going on are they OSA? And doesn't this play into Scientology's operative? Calm down, people. We'll get there. So this is what controlled opposition means. Controlled opposition is a term used to describe a movement led by government agents. Over the course of time, these agents or officials have adopted this technique to overcome their adversaries. This term is also used to describe a situation in which a, quote, leader, think Carriere, will show up at a scene and deliver bits of truth or confirmation to the public. I have a leaked audio to show you of a conversation between Corey and Karen that will show you exactly how she does that. As a result, the public then trusts these leaders, don't ever question the high critic, and follow them like sheep and become blind to the truth, which again is the only reason this shit is even being brought up, because I have so many other things to focus on Scientology related. It sucks that I even have to fucking deal with this shit, but let's just say it's coming to my universe. Okay, so the next part is to show you what Scientology says about Jeffrey Augustine, and I'll show you what's true and what isn't. Jeffrey Augustine is a blogger who bills himself as an investigator. Again, that's just a personal ad hominem attack. That's Scientology slant. Not true. Just skip it. But behind that front, his obscure writings make a reality plain. Now get a load of this. I'm not judging anybody's belief system, but when they're involved in secret societies and they start talking like Hubbard, again, it's another piece of evidence, another red flag. Let's put all the dots together here. An unearthed cache of documents online the majority of which Augustine tried to scrub from the internet, reveals a fanatical and unbalanced occultist. In his scores of rambling tracts, Augustine, and I got to take a frickin' drink of water. If you're just joining us, lean back. We're going to be here for a while, and this is just video number 1. And I'm so charged up over this and have been for a long time. I'm trying to purposely take my time and go slow. In his scores of rambling tracts, Augustine announces his conviction that, quote, the universe gave him his calling to be a spiritual leader. Where have we heard that before? He unfolds hallucinatory revelations on the secrets of God and the origin of the universe. Revelations he declares he received from a voice inside of his head and a massive download from infinity to infinity and beyond. Augustine also makes clear his anti-religious intent. Again, this is a bit of a Scientology slant. You know, he grew up in a religion. He rejected it. Fair enough. Proclaiming that, quote, religion has become a barrier to the ascent and evolution of humanity. He divulges that his calling involves the destruction of both Christianity and Scientology. Another point is Augustine's been very shifty over what his story is in that Janice Hill, Johann Grady video, which we'll be visiting soon. Also, Karen tries to, provide a quick quip in there about what his background is. It's always ever shifting ever since this guy hit the scene. There's a whole story behind that we'll get into. Excuse me while I have to burp. The latter, a consequence of the so-called dream of the karmic vortex. Holy shit. From that same delirious state of mind, Augustine claims he was a Scientologist and is an expert on the religion. He was and is neither. Like I said, they're more than welcome to come on. Jeffrey, come and explain. Don't go talk to somebody that you know is going to field you the right questions. I'll treat you with respect. I have certain questions, and you're totally welcome to answer them, and I'll treat you in a respectful way. So they say Jeffrey Augustine is at a hate rally. He's not at a hate rally. He's just challenging Scientology. The reality of Jeffrey Augustine has been, by the way, I'm going to show you on Amazon these books that they're talking about, just because this is true. So here we go. The reality of Jeffrey Augustine has been masked by anti-religious propagandists, most notably his wife, Carriere, who use him to harass and spread bigoted and malicious rumors about Scientologists. It goes even deeper than that. Scientology doesn't know that they work as a controlled opposition and that they perform the same OSA tactics within the X community. Augustine proclaims his calling by the universe to make new truths known through a spiritual teaching. Jeffrey Augustine, a lapsed Pentecostal, again, that's Scientology's quip. The guy left his religion, more power to him. Renounced his Christian faith in early adulthood and successively became a student of Zen Buddhism, a devotee of a self-styled avatar, and an adherent of Freemasonry. That's key. We've talked about what that is. I got a Freemasonic ring as a hand-me-down on my 21st birthday, and I discussed that in the video called Pump Up the Volume. He immersed himself in Masonic secret symbology and delved deeply into his study and practice of the occult while carrying on his ordinary life as a salesman of lighting products. I want to say something about that real quick. It's another video taking up that, but what I want to say on that part here is that the police department has many Freemasons in it. I know this through personal experience because that hand-me-down was given to me by my grandfather, who was deceased, and it was definitely worth something. I wish I had it now, and I used to wear it around as a Scientologist. But the point I'm making is, whether you're a Scientologist or a Freemason or any of these other secret societies, as a police department person, your authority lies to that cult or secret society above what you would follow in the law. That's a key point to keep in mind as we go forward in future videos. This teaching is my destiny and faith. It is my life. The sacred symbol is therefore my personal emblem, as well as a transcendent symbol. The sacred symbol reveals that my divided human nature is the instrumentality by which the one who stands outside of time has chosen to speak a new message in this era. Classic occult download right there. I'm going to try to read this without cackling. I'm an Augustine by birth. Narcissism much? I mean, the delusions of grandeur just in this guy's books, which I would recommend to get just as a research tool, should have discredited him alone. But again, no questions are allowed to be asked, and he'll only go on people's shows that won't challenge him. I give you Aaron Smith Levin earlier today before this broadcast. I am an Augustine by birth, and am one who has been called and given a name and a symbol as a signet of my calling. So that's Augustine's track on the Augustine monogram, explaining his sacred symbol and claimed that calling by the one who stands outside of time. Jesus Christ. In his voluminous writings, which he later tried to erase from the internet, that's true, Augustine calls himself a, quote, natural born mystic and expounds on his calling. Do tell more. My calling is remarkable. That my last name is Augustine and that I have been called to produce a spiritual teaching resonates with the calling and mission of St. Augustine. The name Augustine itself has spiritual power, and the universe is once again using a human with this name as the agency by which new truths are made known. He's basically saying he's God there, to give you an Orwellian translation. Those new truths consist of a series of revelations Augustine claimed he received through otherworldly means. Again, this was briefly featured in Over the Rainbow, talking about how he pissed his pants and then he realized he was in another body or whatever. This is the guy. This is his character. That's why they hate this film being out there. It literally shows you who they really are behind the facade. That's the purpose of that video, by the way, among other things. He proffers first that he unlocked, quote, how God dreams and how those dreams are turned into universes. These revelations, he wrote, are based in part on, quote, having deciphered the esoteric secrets hidden inside the symbol of the Masonic pyramid. Are you guys starting to see a picture form here? God's Giant Dream Machine. God's Giant Dream Machine is a very different book, for it reveals how God dreams and how these dreams are turned into universes. The book is based in part on the authors having deciphered the esoteric secrets hidden inside of the symbol of the Masonic pyramid. And let me just show you that real quick so you can see what's actually being referred to here. Stand by, please. Okay, here we go. So there it is, The Origin of the Universe and the Masonic Pyramid by Jeffrey frickin' Augustine. And then I'll show you the other one that he wrote, since that was obviously a bestseller. He felt the need to pump out a second one. Pardon for the sarcasm, guys, but like I said, you know, I like everybody in the X community. I don't have a problem with them. Just these two, in case that's not clear. There's the other one. What Caused the Big Bang? Consciousness and Enlightenment in the Internet Age and Beyond. Again, link in the description box. We have a lot of clever people in the audience that will be able to deep dive on some of these connections as well. I welcome you to, if you have any information, drop them in the comments, or you can email me. And people have asked, you know, how to get a hold of me. I can't find it in the description box, blah, blah, blah. In every video and every description box are multiple ways to contact me. So back to where we were at here. We're almost done with this nauseating document. I mean, I can't read this without even like having a reaction. It's so disgusting. Augustine asserts a voice inside his head, the eminence, imparted the secret of the origin of the universe. A significant fraction of Jeffrey Augustine's rambling passages involves his claims to have conferred secrets about the origin of our universe. Does this not sound like Hubbard? As he explains, these secrets were revealed to him through the voice of the eminence, who, as Augustine typed in one of his writings, was speaking inside of my head. The voice had authority, dignity, and was, I felt, approaching me with both respect and a demand. The voice was that of one whom I had learned is called the eminence. The essence of the movement was that the eminence had called me to communicate something about the way in which our universe was brought into existence. While I didn't know the details of what I was supposed to communicate, the eminence confirmed to me that my writing would be the key aspect of the communication. Quote, I remember staring at the words on my computer screen and knowing that the eminence was communicating to me directly. This is straight out of the occult, guys. Don't you remember where we dreamed of all this? The experience asked me. I had never had the impression of another speaking inside of my head. Yeah, it's called schizophrenia. But this was clearly the voice of another. Sound like body thetans, anyone? The voice had authority, dignity, and was, I felt, approaching me with both respect and a demand. The voice was that of one whom I learned to call the eminence. So that's a segment of Jeffrey Augustine's revelations from the voice inside of his head, featured in the books that I just showed you. We're almost done here. Augustine states that this experience, that his consciousness was expanded, quote, far beyond any limits I considered safe or reasonable. Exposure to his writings would lead many to agree. Nice little quip by Scientology. Like I said, discernment, you know, Scientology is an evil cult, right? I mean, they abuse, we all know that, but they're basically an intelligence agency. So when he starts speaking out, Augustine, They often put up true data mixed with their own slant and exaggerations and lies. So you have to use discernment. But it doesn't mean just because it's a Scientology hate website that the information isn't actually accurate. The result is Augustine's, quote, striking new cosmology he calls techno mysticism, which he claims can expand a person beyond their boundaries and into a new and higher level of consciousness and spiritual understanding. Straight out of the New Age cult. I'm sure he'd start one up himself if this would have taken off. I will begin spiritual teaching and create a spiritual community to people who are attracted to the teachings, Augustine wrote. The Techno-Mystic Awakening is an invitation that will be offered by the Dream Tribe Lodge. This lodge is being formed and will be a membership-only organization. There is no evidence Augustine's lodge attracted any members. Again, not for lack of trying. Okay, so we already covered his, just look at that book. I can't even read this shit. It's just disgusting. And this is the guy that's Aaron's good friend, and you can't ask him obvious fucking questions like this. This is about Augustine's massive download, blah, blah, blah. He's a fucking saint and a fucking new age. Here we go. Here's the Knights Templar shit. By the way, I'm going to bust out the John Atack video where he goes onto his friends' channels and he knows he has to leak out the fact that he's a member of the Knights Templar, as long as it's done with people like John Atack and people that are in his pocket. One day, this is the last thing I'm going to read it before I get down to the bottom here. One day on a drive into the mountains, Augustine was hit with a bolt out of the blue. He had a staggering insight about the event that caused the Big Bang and its implications of human consciousness. Augustine had what he describes as a massive download from infinity, wherein he saw everything. It took a long time to unfold this download and put it into book form. Along the way, Augustine became a Master Mason and a Knights Templar. He's currently a Knights Templar, by the way. Let's see if there's anything in this other fucking absolutely ridiculous stuff. Let's see. Augustine becomes obsessed with destroying Scientology. Okay, here we go. This is a bit of his history. And again, many people are finally starting to come forward. And I think there's more information to follow. Let me take a deep breath. In 2005, Augustine began posting on an obscure anti-Scientology message board under a succession of fake identities. He uses tons of sock puppets accounts, and that's why we have Marcus Sawyer in the chat to detour from. I got to check with him later how it went, but yeah, let's just say Augustine and Karen are definitely watching this, as well as their sock puppet accounts. He generated vile hate postings, including sexually explicit imagery and visual associations with excrement to defile the Scientology's religion's founder and the church's blah blah blah. Here's the point. Augustine kept changing his story. One day pretending to be a rabid former Scientologist, the next day posing as a Scientologist. Another day saying he never was one, drawing blowback on his authenticity. Augustine ultimately showed up to his real identity. I say his real identity and Karen's is in Over the Rainbow, no matter what fucking year that was shot. He also made it clear, I am not a Scientologist, even though in my third post I said I was. So we have a guy who introduced himself as a Scientologist, but then said he wasn't one because he can't understand Scientologists or ex-Scientologists, but then says he was a Scientologist from 20 years ago. But in that time, he was also a Christian, a Buddhist, a Master Mason, and currently a Knights Templar. One of the series of postings about Augustine's repeatedly changing story of his identity. So he continues on with a bunch of freaking postings and blah, blah, blah. He's been super active. Again, like Karen, they have nothing better to do than make this their entire fucking life. This is the problem that makes it hard to suss these kind of people, because you and I don't have the time. We have a life and this and that. We wouldn't even think of going to these kind of, strategies and tactics to, rather than just answer the question like, hey, are you still auditing people? Why'd you lie about this and that? They go on this whole strategy, which you've seen unfold, which I knew they would do over the last few days, man. It's like they put their foot in, they're predictable, if not anything. So how does a person go from Scientologist, ex-Scientologist to a never end, to a Scientologist to rabid critic? Has it got something to do with the way the wind is blowing? Though Augustine was never a Scientologist, he and those who use him to harass and spread, that's just Scientology's propaganda. Okay, now here we go. This is important. Augustine finds a partner in Carriere de la Carriere, expelled former Scientologist. We don't even know if he was a Scientologist. Like I said, his stories change no matter what interview or what blog post. So we don't even know what the hell happened with him. After gaining no traction with his cosmic revelations, in 2010, Augustine left his wife of 20 years and their 2 sons and moved in with Carriere de la Carriere. That's the same year that Carriere de la Carriere renounced Scientology and officially left. I don't want to there's a whole bunch of stuff about Karen's background and sex and all that. You know, I don't want to judge. It's irrelevant. This is part of Scientology smear shit, which, you know, if she's getting a few bucks by being, you know, someone's escort or whatever, it's probably legal. It's who cares? Let's just get to the important part. Control and manipulation. Augustine uses his investigator license to dig up dirt on dissenters. This is exactly what OSA does, and why I suggest that we're looking at controlled opposition with these two. To broaden their influence, De La Carriere and Augustine gain control or moderator status on a smattering of anti-Scientologist social media and websites. Remember how we mentioned Outer Banks earlier? Keep that in mind, because that's where we're going next. In postings and YouTube videos, former members of the couple's inner circle have called out their, quote, manipulation techniques and twisted agenda. Defectors describe how De La Carriere and Augustine obsessively dictate what appears on forums the couple controls, including payments to censor anything incriminating or critical of them. It's just very, very sick how these people are. Now, if you want to see the truth of that, again, consult Karen's videos and confront them on that if you dare. Rather than circling around all this distraction bullshit, we just want answers to obvious questions. Augustine became infamous for using sock puppets, false identities, to engage in conversations with himself and bolster his and Karen De La Carriere's profile. We have a really cool audience. There's very few sock puppet accounts at all since I started the channel again. As soon as Over the Rainbow went out, they massively increased. Augustine obtained and continues to use his private investigator license to dig up dirt to smear their perceived enemies or critics and to squelch dissent. Both Augustine and De La Carriere have also earned notoriety for attacking and trying to ruin their critics. Now, this is a hate site put out by Scientology, and yet they're referring to Stephen Mango here. Now, why would they want to talk about Stephen Mango? One, if what he was saying wasn't true, and two, he's a noted critic and Scientology knows this, but they're not throwing him under the bus in this, are they? They're quoting him. In one instance, their target was a man who had asked De La Carriere to return $7,500 he'd pay for her offbeat life coaching under the guise of auditing. That left him, because remember, what she's going to say and what she has said to defend this is, I don't do the tech. I do my own version. There's so many people like Marty Rathman and stuff. Their thing is against Miscavige. I've always been against Hubbard. Like Serge said, man, Hubbard started all this shit. Hubbard's the fucking guy, dude. The story starts well before people's personal vendetta against Miscavige. So many of these people that have come out are ex-Sea Org, and they're totally focused on microscopically attacking Miscavige, not knowing the depth that this fight has been going on, and it does not begin and end with their personal experience. He reported that De La Carriere and Augustine responded by filing a police complaint against him for extortion. And by the way, guys, if you don't mind, I've never asked for help before, but if ever there was any time you wanted to show support, just by doing your own homework, like I said, come back with some comments. Let's bring this to the table. I'm going to be under attack for this. So I just wanted to let you know if I disappear or if things get weird. If you notice devious ways where I am trying to be discredited, just throw it back, answer the fucking question. Augustine obtained and continues to use his private investigator license to dig up dirt to smear their perceived enemies or critics and to squelch dissent within their anti-Scientology circle. To show that that's not hearsay, again, I refer you back as homework number 1, watch the 6 Stephen Mango videos. His tactics have included disseminating bankruptcy documents on one detractor and digging up and posting the criminal record of another. And again, here is his license. So there's again, link in the description box. This is worth reading too, about how they're full of shit in court and shit, but I'll leave it at that for now. So what do we have next? If you're just joining us, start at the beginning because we're going in a dot connecting manner. And part of that beginning is to see the pinned comment and Over the Rainbow, which started all this, follow the links, and then come back and watch this video. So let me pull up the next one and take a deep breather. I want to show you guys too that there's a lot to say about this video, the director, and I was actually thinking about taking Aaron's interviews. I'm not positive I can do this, so I'll have to check out copyright. But that interview that he did with Laura in particular, I have a lot to say about that. And I have some information about Jeffrey that I would like to just share. But that's going to be the next video, or video 3, because there's too much that I was planning on covering before they jumped into all these things to distract from, again, the obvious questions. So here's how it happens, guys. Let's take a look at some. I mean, what's my personal experience with these people? Again, this is damage control. This is warning all the new ex-Scientologists, the creators, the people that will be contacted by Karen because you capture her attention, because she likes something about you, because you have status on your YouTube channel, etc. She'll reach out to all of them, but you have to capture her attention, and then she'll love bomb you. And the way she does this is she has been in control, or a moderator, or has a holdover by paying little gifts of $50 here, $100 there. If you just do this, honey, and then they're sort of in her pocket. Most people, unless they go through a serious decompression process and are willing to actually tell the truth and can never be bought off, they can be bought off for $50 in a sandwich. So if you don't have that kind of integrity, then it's the path of least resistance to just do what Karen says. I keep getting the YouTube videos, I keep getting promoted, versus, if I speak out, I'm going to lose all that. Luckily, I didn't give a fucking shit. I've already been through the Hollywood machine. I know what fame's about. I don't give a fuck about that. It really is about the cause. That's why I might come out a little aggressive to people that can be bought off, because I find it fucking disgusting. Anyways, so what's next here? I'm going to show you the Outer Banks group, how this all happens, so that when she contacts you, if you capture her attention, don't get too excited, but heed the following warning. So let me pull up her group here. Do I even have it? Stand by, please. Okay. I'm going to have to pull this up on Facebook real quick. So let me pull this up. Share this screen with you while I look. Okay, so Outer Banks. I was just watching your live. I never thought that so much shit in ex-Scientology. Yeah, dude, guys, my phone has been off the hook. This guy's, Peter, I'll get back to you. Unless it's something that's appertaining to what's going on, please, man, there's so much emails. Oh, you got to beware of Tony, Zero Dark Tony. Guys, listen, man. If you're new, if you're not an ex-Scientologist, if you are a watcher, really, don't bombard me with emails about personal this, that, and the other thing. Don't warn me about Zero Dark Tony. I know what I'm fucking doing. Like I said, I've been around this block. I got out in 2008. So sit back and relax. And then if you take in the information, do the homework, and then if you have something to contribute off of that, then start from there. Otherwise, I can't stand 25 emails from girls telling me how evil Zero Dark Tony is. Okay? Just please, I don't have the time for that shit, and I don't agree with that. So anyways, here's the Outer Banks. You guys can see that, right? So what happened is I got out in 2008, and in 2016, as you're going to see shortly, this is the preferred way for her to bring you slowly into her cult, her ex-Scientology cult of narcissism that's going to lead to hell. And this is the general way, but she has many tried and true means. This is the way she got Steven, and this is the way she got me. There's a few other names of creators who've contacted me. I don't want to throw out their names because I don't want to involve them. They don't need to be. But let's just say part of what this inspired me to bring this up again, not least because of the personal attacks from this person, but I wanted to warn these people about what they're stepping into by feeling all love bomb that they got into Karen's Outer Banks. And I don't know how to warn these people. Now I have videos that I can send them to, because it's too much to explain to one person over the phone for 5 hours. Again, I really want to say some names, but I can't, man. Just trust me. There's other creators that are in jeopardy, and hopefully this will help them, as well as other people that go down this route. Okay, so if you get invited to Outer Banks like I did, this is her group that she runs. Now let's read what it's about. Welcome to the Outer Banks. Our purpose is simple: connecting up with other ex-members, ex-SOs, SPs, indies, attorneys, journalists, celebrities, particularly celebrities, vocal critics, the abused, and never ends. Yeah, come in here and be abused. Let's again, my point of contention and what Stevens is and why this thing is has my blood boiling for the last 3 years is because she takes the most vulnerable. This is even more evil than what Scientology does. She takes the most vulnerable who need the most help, that trust her because of the status she has, and then she fucks them up in her own cult. That's what's so evil about it. And then when confronted about it, rather than address the evidence, she will then go on a discrediting campaign like you saw in the last few days, just with that movie going up, to get everybody in her pocket. She's whispering in Laura's ear. She's whispering in Aaron's ear. And she's full on right now active in putting out this fucking fire. It's not going to be put out, by the way. The only thing they can do is shut me down. That's why I'm said, if ever you want to help me out, I don't need money or anything. I'm just saying help protect me. Like, I've never asked for any help before, but this is dangerous territory. Ask Stephen. I want to keep speaking the truth. And what I don't want to have happen is to lose my voice. Okay. I'm doing everything I can to protect the channel on this end, but know that this is really pissing her off. The Outer Banks is a special secret information sharing group on Scientology Inc. She's not even kind of, she doesn't even know what she's saying here. You shouldn't say that. The Office of Special Affairs, OSA, is the intelligence branch of the cult. She worked for that too, by the way. And those are the very tactics that she uses. And hopefully we'll be able to get to the recorded phone call with Corey so I can start showing you some of this. Their main statistic is number of smear campaigns. This is what she does. And disconnection orders. Don't talk to Doug. He's the conspiracy nutter. Just divert the attention. That film Over the Rainbow was shot long ago. Feel sorry for the loss of my husband. Don't look, don't look, don't look. When they cause a disconnection or separation between others, including close family, that is a statistic for them. They saved the church. Okay, and then again, link in the description box. I encourage you to read all this. Notice that it's private, so she can absolutely have control. So she love bombs you into the cult. And this is usually the first step to get there. Now I'm going to show you my conversation with Karen and how I got roped in. It's people like Stephen and the few people that have had the balls, Alonzo too, and others that have actually called this out and know what's going on. That's going to prevent this from happening again. Because I promise you guys, nothing's changed and nothing will change when you're dealing with a malignant narcissist. This person is a cancer. So here's the warning, because I almost suffered Stephen's fate. So July 24th, 2016. I'm going to need to light up a cigarette here, man. Stand by. If you're just joining us, like I said, this is a hot topic. I'm way over emotional, so I'm going to try to go slow and chill out. Pardon me if there's a little dead air here and there. Doug, thank you for posting Unlucky, my beloved dog. And you guys all know how much I love dogs, if you pay attention. What I did to capture her attention is I hit the love on her frickin' dog. That was so kind of you. Party invitation. SP party for SPs only. Again, your assigned homework is to watch all those videos from Stephen. We will be covering some of it, but he goes into great detail about how the whole party thing, the Outer Banks thing, and this whole leading into her cult works. And how does it start with a narcissist? Love bombing, right? I capture her attention. I loved her little doggy. She says, that was so kind of you. And by the way, guys, this is 2016 when I'm vulnerable. I'm 8 years out of the cult now, and I absolutely trust this person. She is a class 12. How could she, I had no idea what I was stepping into, by the way. Hence, these videos are warnings. Party invitation, SP party for SPs only. You are invited to a summer get-together, once again at Conrad's restaurant in Glendale. So in Glendale, she holds this yearly party where she love bombs and has everybody gather. And she also writes down their license plates numbers and everything. So here she invites me. You'll need $20 to pay for your own meal, etc. Again, link in the description box, and you can pause the video if you want to see this in more detail, but we got a lot to cover here. Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for the kind message and invite. It would be an honor to attend the upcoming SP gathering and meet you and other fellow SPs in person. Please count me in, and thanks again. Guys, this is why we got to protect the community, because the explosion of people and the community were finally, you don't even have to be an ex-Sea Org. You can be an ex-public or whatever. We have support. This community did not exist when I was around. I couldn't fucking talk to anybody about this. So when I finally got invited into this, it was like, thank God. I've been out 8 years and I finally get to meet Jesse Prince. I finally get to meet Karen. I'm accepted. I finally get to heal and talk to people that know all about this shit. I can't wait to talk to them. Wonderful. 2 wonderful SPs are coming from Ventura. I live in Los Angeles, by the way, and I grew up in Camarillo, and Ventura is close by. Wonderful. 2 wonderful SPs are coming from Ventura, and I'm trying to work out if carpool is possible so they pick you up in Camarillo. Karen, you got to do your research a little more. You should have known when I was in Los Angeles. I suggested you friend Kathy. She is one of them. Her daughter is Nora. I think you guys know who we're talking about here. Please friend her as well. And by the way, this whole thing does lead into Tony Ortega and, John Atack and the whole cast of characters. So stick with me. Nora's putting out some fucking awesome shit on that. Doug, did you have any experience in Scientology? If so, I would like to introduce you to the group. Hi, Karen. Thank you. Yes, I was pretty much born to Scientology. My dad got into it when I was 8 and began indoctrinating the rest of the fam. I was in from ages 8 to 35 when I was compelled at a certain point to go to the internet in January 2008. Again, this whole story is explained in the videos. Where after an hour online, my entire life and world turned upside down. I did a bunch of choruses, training as a public. I only joined mission staff once, and that lasted for a few days before I said, fuck this, and ran, and I got up to OT3, where I think I went temporarily insane. Don't listen to that Doug at Days Confused. He lost his mind. At the time, I had a fairly successful acting career finally beginning to take shape. All my friends and family were Cylons by this point, and my mind belonged exclusively to Elcon. As you and every other ex knows, as soon as the light, well, apparently not. I mean, look at how naive I am here, guys. Jesus Christ. As you and every other ex knows, as soon as the light switch goes on, you will lose everything overnight. And I did, including and especially my mind. I didn't know what planet I was on for several years. It was really hard to figure out dick about anything, really. It's taken me 8.5 years of serious work. Guys, it took about 10 years. I'm still in it here. And again, I'm trusting Karen. It's taken me 8.5 years of serious work and battling to regain my sense of self and attempt to put my life back on track. My parents are still in. They're probably lifers. That turned out to be true. My dad passed away a few months ago, died as an OT8, and he never left. But at least the hard part of leaving and deprogramming is over with, and the future looks a shitload brighter comparatively. Also, Karen, I was born in Camarillo, but live in Los Angeles now, so can't carpool with others from Ventura area. But thanks, smiley face. Wow, great story. You are a survivor, and very well done on escaping it all. So I finally get invited to the Outer Banks. The Outer Banks Facebook. This post is hidden because the Outer Banks is a private group. More to be discussed shortly. Thanks. That's only the tip of the iceberg, as they say. This is me speaking back to her. I guess we have all kinds of crazy stories upon exiting the Truman Show. That was an understatement. Congrats to you as well, Karen. It sure ain't easy. Karen, I would like you to get a welcome to the group. Again, I watch my fellow new creators get sucked in the same way. I tried to explain to them over the phone one by one. I can't spend hours breaking this down to each person that's getting sucked in this way. Hence the video series. I would like you to get a welcome to the group. Can you be online around noon tomorrow? It's nice to say thank you and howdy to those that give you a warm welcome. Yeah, sounds great, Karen. Thanks, smiley face. Okay, 12 noon then. Welcome, my friend. Yeah, welcome to a new kind of hell. Thanks, Karen. Big thumbs up. XOXOXO from Karen. Now, July 27th, 2016, shortly after this. You are being welcome. Please say howdy and thanks to your new friends, the Outer Banks. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Karen, I really appreciate you giving me a chance to put my story out there, brief as it was. The response has been overwhelming. I got love bombed by all of her cohorts. It was quite a successful event, by the way, guys. I mean, talk about feeling welcome. Finally, I'm going to be heard, blah, blah, blah. And quite therapeutic for me. Thank you so much. I only started really speaking out in any public way a few months ago, and that was barely, guys. And this was the first time I got to tell any part of my story to a group of exes. Again, I got out in 2008. This is 2016, 8 years after I'm out. And thank God for the community, and let's protect it so that others finally have a place to land and they won't go through this bullshit. So Karen says, thanks, Doug. I'm so pleased at the very warm welcome you received. Heart. Your story touched the heart of many. So many of us have been through that hell, and so many could relate to you. This is your group, your safe harbor. And you can say whatever you damn well please. Holy shit, I can barely read this without cackling. Awesome. Thank you, Karen. Huge thumbs up. I think that was a shitload of hearts, but for whatever they didn't post. Doug, Okay, 8/14/2016. Doug, please come to the party on Friday. Here's the invite. Again, guys, it goes from Outer Bank. And then if you pass that level and you don't talk too much shit or question her, you will be invited to the Glendale fucking SP party once a year. So here it is. And thank you, Karen. Can't wait. Cool. Did you want to bring a guest? No, thanks. Don't really know anyone. Okay, be great to have you meet all the Los Angeles ex-Cylons. What fun. And yeah, I was fucking excited for this night, guys, especially to meet Jesse Prince. That guy's a badass. Yes, I haven't met hardly any ex-Cylons so far, so it will be great indeed. Hi, Karen. And then, so I go to the event, right? Get to meet everybody. I meet her first and foremost, of course. She welcomes me with that fake plastic, completely inauthentic smile and entire beingness. And I say, hi, Karen. By the way, this is 2016. And as you guys have heard, and why I brought the narcissist on is 2017 is when that guy's information for me hammered home what I was dealing with her. I talk about the ex-girlfriend, my mother, and cult leader L. Ron Hubbard. So this is when the dots start connecting and why I push that subject so much on the channel. It can save you a lot of heartache if you can spot the red flags of a narcissist. Hi, Karen. Just wanted to thank you for hosting such a great event on Friday and taking the time to introduce me to everyone. I had an amazing time, and it's been a long time coming and meeting all these wonderful people. There's nothing like hooking up with people who have been through the exact same thing and truly understand. Please keep me informed on when the next one is, if you don't mind. Thanks again, Karen. Karen says, Doug, thank you. It was such a pleasure to meet you. You will always be on the guest list, my dear. Thank you, my friend. Here's the invitation again. This must be a new one. Thank you, Karen, for the invite. Please count me in. Yeah, so this is the next one. Wonderful to have you. The feeling is mutual, Karen. Thanks. You are a pleasure. Here's the reminder from December 9th, 2016. Doug, I miss you at Outer Banks. Hope you're well. Chime in now and again. XOXOXO. Hi, Karen. Thanks for checking in with me. That means a lot. I'm following/reading Outer Banks on the daily. Rarely post, but watch, observe a lot. I have almost no paper trail because what I did for 12 years is I wanted to know the truth and I wanted to suck in everybody's content and everybody's books. And I didn't want to get involved in any of the X fighting. And I didn't want to get involved until I had my head screwed on straight. So I was one of those people, and I know there's a lot out there that you'll never hear from. They'll never be in the comments or rarely, but they are healing and they need a lot of time. And you might hear them speak out in the future. Jump in and air your voice every now and again. Thanks, Karen. I shall. Again, guys, even when I was in her group, I don't have a lot to say. I just like to listen to what other people have to say and take in the information. Here we go, guys. 9/13/2017. Approximately a year after being love bombed into her Outer Banks/Pasadena gatherings cult. Karen, do you still practice and or believe, and notice the date here, this is 2017, and I just showed you evidence, and again, consult Steve Mango's videos. We know for a fact that she was secretly auditing until at least 2020. I think she's personally still doing it today. And like I said, people are coming forward with information behind the scenes. I don't have any proof of that. But the fact that she's lying to it up to 2020, she's more than welcome to come on and retort the evidence. Karen, do you still practice and or believe in, quote, the tech in any way? Do you audit others or yourself? I've heard several times now that you do. And I'd really appreciate an honest, straight answer from you personally. Thanks. Now, here's where everything goes sour, guys. If you ever question her, or you start to figure this out, fucking goodbye. No, I do not. I do not practice any form of Scientology. Where are you hearing this? I bet you'd like to know, wouldn't you, Karen? I've heard this mentioned several times by exes. Remember, guys, I'm getting my mind blown by this. I fucking trust this chick like all of you people do. And I mean, what the hell, man? This is a top critic, right? So people are telling me that she's auditing people and stuff, and it was blowing my mind. And all I wanted to do was ask her. And I asked her just to tell me the truth. And what happened after that? Not only did she lie to me, but she completely turned on me. Now you guys know where some of this emotion is coming from. So I've heard this mentioned several times by exes. I'd prefer not to give names and involve other people in this. I just really needed to know this, as I would obviously be pissed if it were true. Thanks for clearing it up. Okay, I need to take a breather here for a second. Let me just chill for a second, guys. Okay, let's keep going. So 9/13/17. Rumor, gossip, rah, nah, whatever the fuck. Most likely started by Osa. Remember this, guys, as we hit the Janice Gilham Grady video. This is a response I heard from her anytime. Now remember, I just wanted to know this, which we know today was a total fucking lie. Rumor, gossip, rah, most likely started by Osa, Hubbard senior policy, depopularize the enemy. Who the fuck talks like this that got out of Scientology in an answer to that question? With Tony Ortega, they like to slime him by saying he was part of back pages offering children for sex. That's not totally accurate, but wait until we get to fucking Tony Ortega and look who she's protecting, and you guys probably are up to speed on what Nora and others are exposing. More to come. This is just fucking video 1. Malicious rumors based on zero evidence always traces back to Office of Special Affairs. You mean you, Karen? The other people is Marissa Sigmund, who has been spouting this for 2 years. She might be coming on, by the way, guys. We shall see. Maybe even 3 years after a mod removed her from Outer Banks. Again, Marissa dared speak up. How dare her? Karen, you are one of the 4 admins of the group SPs Are Us, obviously. I was censored for a week by someone. Gee, could it have been you? So right after I questioned her, I made a post on Mark Ebner's, which was totally innocuous, totally innocent. And she's telling me, dude, go post once in a while. It was completely innocuous. And this is what happened because of what you just saw. This is how she handles people, guys, when you ask her a question. So be aware of that. I spoke with Pete Griffiths about this, and it wasn't him. If this was you doing this, would you care to provide me with a reason? What did I post on Mark Ebner's post that someone felt the need for me to be prevented from further posting? Would you care to divulge any personal grudge you may have against me to myself personally via responding back or on a public forum, as I have done with you? So yeah, I asked her in a public forum, and she has to hide behind her little cohorts. She'll never answer the question. By the way, guys, remember, I'm just got conned by this person and lied to. I confirmed it. And I trusted this person. My emotions are raw as shit. I finally have a community. I'm 8 years out. And this is what happens. This is what I'm talking about. What would make her actions more fucking evil than Scientology. I don't fear Scientology. There's been many things that have happened, and I might start talking about it since the very beginning of this channel. I have my license plate stolen, my car broken into so many times I had to get rid of it. There's all sorts of stuff that happened that I don't want to bother people with. And I don't want to make accusations that I can't confirm. But let me just tell you, since the first attack on the channel, right when I started, I didn't think it was Scientology, Osa. The first thought that popped in my head is Karen. Just want to let you know how deep this shit runs in my fucking veins. Sorry for getting mad. I can't believe what I'm reading here, man. It's like my naivety and what I didn't know. You know, I've come a long fucking way. So understand I'm angry here, guys. And I don't want to throw any people under the bus, but let's just say some new creators have had their ear whispered into. And I know she uses text like this to say, stay away from this guy. To make no mistake about it, Karen, and to be crystal clear, I have as much trust in you and your overall motives about as much as I have for my forever and sociopathic Cylon parents. And I have no problem stating my opinion about that. I don't need to hide behind my actions and what I feel by doing sneaky things behind people's backs and remaining anonymous. Do you? Or how about your husband sending me some lame bullshit comment back via my messenger a couple weeks ago, rather than simply responding in public where I posted? FYI, the commenting I did yesterday on Ebner's post was the first time I piped in on the group in years. And by the way, Ebner's the one that was safe pointed by Karen to get fucking Stephen Mango into this shit. I'm not calling out Ebner. I think he's a decent guy. Again, I think people are fucking clueless about how this works. So like I said, I'm not trying to lay into anybody. I give them the benefit of the doubt. They just need to be informed. And then after that, after the evidence, if they're still a prick, well, at least the case was made. That's on them. FYI, the commenting I did yesterday on Ebner's post was the first time I piped in the group in years. And hilariously, I am banned within a day. No loss on leaving the group, minus all the truly legit and good people there that believe in you, laugh out loud. I would remove myself from the group already if I could figure out how. Delete me if you can and save me the hassle, please. It must be fun as fuck living in your world, Karen. Again, I probably wouldn't be as aggressive today. I'm very pissed off. Oh, and she gave me a little sad face. Now check this out, guys. She tried to call me right after this. I picked it up. She didn't answer. And then I called her back twice right after this. And I'm like, I said, you just tried calling me. No, I'm trying to call you back. No answer. 2 more calls. And then she gives me a thumbs up. So I'm thinking, okay, what is she trying to get my phone number? It made absolutely no sense. So I said, so call me back. Laugh out loud. You just want to get my phone number? I would have given it to you if you had asked nicely. Now, regards the Pete Griffiths thing, we've been going so long already and we're kind of like getting close to the end, but Pete Griffiths is I'll leave that in the description box so you can see more about how I confronted Pete, what's going on here, blah, blah, blah. But I want to show you the Jeffrey Augustine response. And by the way, who on earth would respond to a person trying to recover from a cult that can't answer what she what she lied about? And so after that, this is in January, March, April, May. This is right after that incident. I hadn't posted in years, right? From 2017 to 2019, I was in the Outer Banks. I watched everything. I didn't suss anything. And then I just post something on Mark Ebner. And because I called her out earlier, she's like, we got to get rid of that guy. He actually spoke. So he fucking hits me back. Hope your A&E goes well. Good little culty. Doug's Osa. Don't listen to him. These are the antics of children. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? So there you go, guys. That's just a small sample that I wanted to show you about what you're walking into should Karen approach you and you feel lucky by getting into the Outer Banks. I'm sweating like a motherfucker. And we've just begun. So we've been going in, oh my God, almost 2 hours. Plus we got questions to answer, which my moderator Marcus is handling. So let's almost give it a wrap. But my friends, we haven't even started. There's so much to go into. Next time we're going to pick it up from, I'm going to show you this phone call from Karen that was secretly recorded. And it's up on YouTube. And we're going to start from there because I'm going to start to break down her OSA tactics and all that. And like I said, and then we're going to break down the smear campaigns using Angry Gay Pope, who she pays, etc. And then we're going to have to cover the Janice Gilham Grady video because there's a couple of things to point out here too. And I'll break this down more as we go. I had stuff on narcissism I wanted to cover here. And then, I wanted to go back to the Over the Rainbow and talk all about some of the comments and stuff. We have a very intelligent community. And I'm surprised that most of you are actually up on speed. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that she's a narcissist and what that means. But for those that don't understand that, it can be like brushed off as you'll see that Mike Rinder says later when he's confronted on it. She's a little narcissistic, but her intentions are totally true. You can trust her. We have so much more to cover. And everything that we've covered here, again, will be in the description box. And I try to add as I go as much as I can too, as I get more information. But I think that should give you enough to digest. So again, your homework is to go watch the Over the Rainbow video. More will be said on that and about what's being said with Laura and Aaron and all that. Go watch the Steve Mango videos. Watch this video in full. Follow the links. Do your homework. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And we'll be picking up the second video either on a Q&A or, like I said, I have at least 5 videos to break this whole thing down. And we're just starting. But we have to start at the top of the pyramid, the one that has the most control, with Karen to make sense of the rest, who, in my opinion, are very good people. And I don't want to see the community go down because of a narcissist. And it's fucking it all up and has been since 2010. There's enough support and enough people know what's going on where I feel like we can actually get this out there. And at the very least, if she's not removed from the community and stopped listening to and is laughed at instead of taken seriously, then at least we can prevent people the next time they hear about the Outer Banks, the next time they get love bombed or whatever. At least the information is out there and more evidence it will be coming forward to just warn people and keep this community tight. So Marcus, do you want me to bring you on here? Or, I mean, thank you so much. I haven't been able to follow the chat and all that. And I know he's in there fucking, how did it go, bro?
I've been busy.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been busy typing and doing mod spams and visiting with everybody.
Okay, man.
Yeah. No, I think it was good, man.
I'm so fucking emotional over this. I
I
knew.
could tell. It's good.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel that shit, man. And when you were reading Karen's stuff, especially, I can remember having the viewpoint of these terminals that are senior to you, but but still not being a Scientologist, but feeling like someone has a higher level of awareness that's there to help you. And I can see how she fits that perfectly because she was a class 12. In my case, I talked to another person that was a class 12 who I greatly admired, named Pierre Etier. And, it was less like auditing and more like unauditing. In a weird way, in this weird, intelligent way, he was basically telling me it was all bullshit. So I guess I'm lucky, that I wasn't.
And you talked about this on the Freak Show. I know we've had many conversations about this. And like I said, guys, please don't base, we're laying a case here. We're going step by step, and there's an unbelievable amount of information. But I don't want to focus on this. Like I said,
I'm not making a case for Karen. That's you.
That's me. But let's just say you did a video called The Freak Show, and you've had your own dealings. And
sure.
I won't put you in that because you don't.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
don't have that personal
for
experience.
me, the whole stuff is like so passe for me now.
I understand, but like you said, Marcus, it's about warning people and preventative so that people don't end up almost suiciding
There's
themselves.
nothing
And
wrong with
she
talking
drove
about
me
it.
to that point too. So I'm going to differ with you on that and say there's not only nothing wrong about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being attacked personally, and the X community is actually subject to all. Let me put it this way, bro.
Mm-hmm.
If just awareness was known, then at least people can be prevented from being love bombed into the Outer Banks and other ways. I'm sure she'll find a new tactic now, but let's just say they'll think twice, especially after all the videos are laid out. And I think Stephen did a good enough job. Again, leave your personal feelings out, leave the ad hominem attacks out. What we want is you to go suss the evidence, use your own critical thinking, and then come back to either, hey, I don't agree with this. This is wrong. Retort it, refute it. Karen, Jeffrey, come on, explain yourself. It's all open, but the hurt, which was explained in this video, that's being caused by her, I don't feel it's light, Marcus. And so, I don't have it out for the community. I'm here to protect the community.
I can't even imagine what that was like, and I know another person who has disappeared, completely disappeared from anywhere. I can't get a hold of him. I can't,
Yeah, that happened to Corey too, which we're going to discuss. These people like Steven and stuff, they have huge balls, and they've been frightened into basically not coming on. I don't think Steven can handle it, man. I don't think he's a pussy. But I'm going to get worked up.
Vaginas are very strong.
But I don't want to make light, Marcus.
They're way more resilient and stronger than dicks.
Okay. I just want to make the point, though, bro. This isn't a light matter just because you
haven't experienced it.
And so
it's not. This was not a light broadcast. This was a very cutting and that's why I wanted to sort of at least be around to look at the chat and in case there was nothing. It was fine. Everything was fine.
I'm going to talk to you off air about that too.
Which is like super good indicators.
Fucking A.
Yeah, because
fucking A,
before say 10 years ago, and I'm glad that I didn't delete all of my videos because there are some OSA comment, at least one still there. So like the fact that there's not like 3 or 4 overtly critical OSA people, because that I would get on my videos.
Mm-hmm.
And my subscribers would call it out. I would generally block the comment or block the user. And famously L. Ron Hubbard, who's usually in the streams, the guy that role plays L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, he's brilliant, by the way.
I
haven't seen him for a while, dude. I hope
he's been on my streams watching the stuff I've been, the self-analysis stuff.
Elron, get your ass back over here, please.
Yeah, the gas money from Target 2 is kicking his ass so bad. Probably the war in Ukraine, But
we're not going to segue off into that shit, man. Please
No,
leave the politics out of it.
I
We've
banned
already
him
covered
years
enough.
ago because I thought he was like a de facto OSA person that was like hiding in plain sight. Like, oh yeah, of course that's not OSA, because why would OSA have an L. Ron Hubbard picture and name it L. Ron Hubbard? But
Marcus,
yeah, we didn't have any issues in the chat.
Yeah, and just to tell you guys what's going to happen, because like I said, a narcissist is anything if not predictable. Expect to see more. We're going to cover the over the rainbow, and we're going to talk about why that's. I'm actually going to say a couple of words in closing on that, because there's a little bit I want to say on that. But let's just say that needs to be addressed, because I don't know Laura, but I remember putting that video up. First of all, I put a clip on the disconnection. Again, if you guys haven't seen it, that was my dad, man. That's how a freaking Scientologist acts. And she'll have much more to say about that. So I'm interested to hear more about that. I want to get into why Scientology is, without any facts being unveiled yet, where they play into this, because I have a lot to say about that. Guys, if you want to know some more information and you don't want any slanted stuff, Aaron's had me on his show. No hard feelings, man, to anybody except for these two. And they're welcome to come on too and address, tell their story. They got the floor. I want to say that I know that they won't, and I know what tactics they're going to use. Gaslighting, talking to everybody's ear. Don't listen to Doug. Don't listen to the Mango videos. And then they have a whole way of deflecting rather than simply answering the questions. That alone is another red flag. But like I said, we just laid down the foundation. I'm going to go smoke 50 cigarettes. I'm going to put on the air conditioner, and I'm just going to calm my emotions, and then we'll be back soon to cover this. But like I said, it's not the focus of the channel. I'd rather be working on other shit, and I will. We got a lot of good stuff coming up.
We got Backlash tomorrow.
Me and Marcus are going to do Dianetics and get off of this for a while and chill out. That's going to be really cool, by the way, guys. So I just wanted to say thank you. Again, please do your homework. You're not going to be blocked unless you're a troll or an asshole. So say whatever you want, but we have an intelligent little group of people over here. So don't think you're going to skip the homework and, latch onto your favorite personality parasocially and think you know what you're talking about if you don't at least do the homework and watch this video. I know there's so much content to watch, my friends. I can't keep up on it. It is a lot to ask for someone to sit down for 3.5 hours. But if you're serious about this and you want to have an informed opinion, get the information first before you start popping off. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to leave it on that, Marcus. And guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll be back. And I really appreciate the support. There's so much more to say. Stay tuned.